Hello, sports fans. It's Friday, October 18th. Welcome to Cleats by Dre. I'm Dre. Let's talk some sports. Wow, what a week. What a few days since we last spoke. Lots of action to go through. And that's what we'll do. Three teams I want to focus on. I'll focus on the Liberty. Yes, WNBA. I'll focus on the Yanks. I'll focus on the Mets. Right? Liberty and Yanks are queen bees. We looked at the New York beehive. Mets are the worker bees. Man, I think I've watched so much baseball. My eyes are bleeding baseball right now. But I do want to start with the New York Liberty. And can I say Liberty one win away from a championship, their first ever in franchise history. I feel bad. What was it, my episode 3 or 4, the New York championship drought? Can I pull you back in, Liberty? I know I said it didn't count, but gosh, we want to celebrate something in this town. But anyway, if you missed it, at this point, I believe it was Wednesday night, right? The incredible ending and comeback on the road. The series was 1-1, Liberty and the Lynx. The Lynx went up 15 early. They fought back. So the Liberty, an incredible showing by a duo in particular. Breanna Stewart led the charge in the third quarter. She had 14 points. As a 15-point lead, got cut down to 1 by the end of the quarter. Stewie ended up with 30 points, 11 rebounds, 4 blocks, I think. And, this came down to the end, though. And all the credit goes to Liberty's homegrown star, second-team All-WNBA, Sabrina Ionescu, with 2 of the clutchest threes you'll ever see in the biggest stage. Especially the dagger with the second left, the step back 28-footer. Stuff that got Steph Curry, got Luka Doncic screaming on Twitter about. It was incredible. Incredible clutch as the Liberty won by 3 points. And now they're up 2-1 going into, I think it's a Friday night, potential closeout game at Minnesota. I give Sabrina credit. In the post game, she was like, some shot for a second team All WNBA player to make. I guess she was worthy of first team. But wow, I was watching the Mets game Wednesday night, but I also had this game on, and kudos to the Liberty, kudos to the women. It got me thinking, like, if we're putting this into context, one of the best finals and championship performances in New York sports history. I was starting to look up individuals, with Sabrina's late game heroics, but of course, Stewart deserves so much of the credit for getting them back in. So let's look at just some that Sabrina, especially the clutchness of it, that we have to put this on par with. Of course, with the New York Giants, we have Eli Manning's performances in the 2008 and 2012 Super Bowls. For the Yankees, what comes to mind, and I'm going off of semi-recent history, what I know well, 2009 World Series MVP, Hideki Matsui. He had 615 in that series against the Phillies with 3 home runs and 8 RBIs as a DH, right? He didn't really, I don't even think he played much in the games in Philadelphia. And that's a championship performance. 2000, Mr. Derek Jeter, right, against the Mets in the Subway Series, hit 409 with 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and a triple. Especially that leadoff home run in Game 4 that just kind of like set the tone. Gosh, that's similar to what Ohtani did to the Mets today, leading off against Quintana. But anyway, let's stick on topic. Also in that 2000 Subway Series, those that might remember, Paul O'Neill had quite a series at 474 with 2 doubles and 2 triples. Quite a duo, Jeter and O'Neill. If we're really going back further, we can look at the 1977 World Series, Mr. October, where Reggie Jackson stepped up 455 home runs and 8 RBIs, including I think the clincher in Game 6, was it? He had 3 home runs. And you could always go to the Knicks in the 1969-70 NBA Finals versus the Lakers with not only Willis Reed's heroics in Game 7, but Walt Clyde Frazier with the famous 36 points and 19 assists. Look, this is just, honestly, if you think about it, in the last 50 years, outside the Yankees, not a ton of New York sports success and championships, but at the level of what Sabrina, she just won a game at the end of the game with a clutch 3. We don't see that a lot. So kudos to the Liberty. Let's close it out. Let's get a parade. Good for them. I'll be watching Friday night. Okay, baseball. I was joking about, yes, my eyes right now, I watch a lot. And these games are not going the 2.5 hours of the pitch clock. But it's incredible. Like, October baseball is the best. You've heard me talk about it before. The fact that we have 2 New York teams in the LCS, incredible. And a stat was going around Thursday that I think is really cool. I picked this up from Mike Petrello, MLB writer. The 7 best players in baseball in the decade of the 2020s were all playing on Thursday. The most productive players by WAR in the 2020s. You had Ohtani, you had Judge, you had Soto, you had Jose Ramirez, you had Freddie Freeman, you had Lindor, and you had Mookie Betts. Top 7. That's incredible. Incredible theater. It's incredible to see the most incredible players on this stage. So the first game was the Yankees and the Guardians, and I was in and out of it. I was certainly in it towards the end. And look, going in, I was ready to write this series off like everyone else. And the Guardians look overmatched, quite frankly. The young kids look overmatched in the Bronx. And I was ready to give credit to the Yankees. Instead of complaining, as some Mets fans are doing, oh, what a weak road. Well, they earned it. Yankees scuffled throughout the year, but they got out to such a hot start, and they found themselves towards the end of the year. You got to give them credit for earning this road and earning the home field advantage. But here come the Guardians. I mean, after Clase comes in the 8th and just gives up the Judge opposite field homer, and then Stanton goes deep, and the Yankees go up 4-3, you think this is over. But then, and I love the nickname Big Christmas. What an all-time nickname. Johanski Noel with 2 strikes on him off Luke Weaver, who I crowned on my last episode. Ties it up. And then David Fry off of Clay Holmes in extra innings. Gosh, it is hunting season for elite closers. I'm not putting Clay Holmes in that, but it's just, formally elite closer. No lead is safe. And look, what was the stat? ALCS Game 3, right? Second game in postseason history with 4 game-tying or go-ahead home runs in the 8th inning or later. The other also came from a Cleveland team, the 1995 ALDS Game 1, which I don't remember. Let's see, the Yankees played the Mariners that year. Was it the Orioles? Maybe Cleveland played the Orioles. I don't know, but good for Cleveland. Get in the moment. Will be more than a moment. We'll see. They're right back at it on Friday. My hunch. This feels like the one-off. This feels like the one game that the spunky kind of team gets in the game of 5. And geez, am I talking another adjacent tangent with the Mets there? Maybe. But I don't know. With Stanton hitting like he's hitting, that's a true murderer's row the Yankees have. Soto, Judge, Stanton. That every time up is going to do some damage. Leaky bullpen with now Weaver giving up bombs. Yeah, that'll bring back some PTSD for Yankees fans. But I feel like there's enough here. I feel like this was a blip. Good moment for the Guardians. But hey, that's why I got to play the game. So more to come. Okay, on to the Mets. Grimace Mets. The OMG Mets. The worker bees of the Mets. And they've been working hard for 2 months. Since we last spoke, when it was 1-1 coming back to Queens. Wow. Dodgers beat the Mets 8-0 in Game 3 and 10-2 in Game 4. And it kind of felt like that. The Mets have had their chances, but it kind of felt like, geez, this Dodgers team was just inevitable. Look, I've been hopeful, right? I've been Mr. Believe. After Game 3 and before Game 4, I put out on X and the New York Mets community the old 1960 Yankees. The Pirates beat the Yankees in 7 games, even though they had the negative 28 run differential, right? Because it doesn't matter how much you lose in each game, you just got to win enough games. And it got some. It went viral a little bit. It got a bunch of likes. But then I also tried to put it back out there tonight and say, hey, the run differential of the series is only minus 20. It's not as bad still. For Mets fans, lots of frustrations, right? Boiling over that you could try to nitpick at. We could talk about Mendoza's somewhat unpopular, lineup moves, the loyalty to JD Martinez, who I give Evan Roberts and the fan credit. He's calling it. JD at this point is a singles hitter, and one that's flailing a little bit too. His decent eye, he's drawing some walks, but he does not have his power. Even Iglesias seems to be kind of running on fumes. You could also talk about the pitching approach the Mets have had and all those walks. Oh, my God. What's the stat now? The Dodgers have the most walks gained in a 4-game span in postseason history of 31. Man, you just want to, in the underdog role, where you just kind of have to hope some luck goes your way, it's not going to happen via walks. A walk is a sure thing. Man, let some line drives find some gloves. Or the pitching approach, is it leaving guys in too long? Mendoza hasn't had enough urgency, right? Like last night, Thursday night, right, with the Quintana, keeping him in a couple batters too long where Budo comes in with runners on base against Mookie Betts. That's a tough spot for any reliever. So it runs here and there. And let's also talk about where the defense hasn't been sharp. Really in Game 3 with that inning, with the Alvarez era and Sevy bobbling it, defense hasn't been sharp. The bullpen has been less than sharp. Anytime McGill comes in, he's mopping up. He's not keeping it where it is. These leads are growing. And Phil Maton, well, he just can't figure it out. He looks lost. Lots of things to nitpick with. I feel bad for the crowds that are there. They really haven't gotten enough to get behind. Lots of bases loaded, no outs. Not a lot of clutch hitting, right? Mets are, 4 for 26. Runners in scoring position. But the bottom line, this Dodgers lineup is just better than the Mets lineup. This offense is better than the Mets offense. Dodgers finished second in the year in runs scored. The Mets finished 7th, despite how hot they were. Now, the Dodgers also finished 13th in the year in runs allowed. Not stellar. And actually 23rd in runs allowed since July 1st. Which really makes the way their pitching staff and bullpen look even more baffling, right? The way Buehler got whiffs in Game 3. The way Yamamoto all of a sudden got whiffs in Game 4. Not what we were expecting. Not what we were counting on. I talk about the offense and the lineup, though, because if you remember my episode 6, right, where I claimed the Mets were more dangerous than the Yanks, people thought it was crazy then. It's not that far off of a stretch. It was because I think offenses win championships. Pitching wins championships. I think offenses win championships. We looked at the last 10 World Series winners in that episode. They averaged out to 5th in runs scored and 7th in runs allowed. So a little bit more for the offense. Then we looked even closer. They all had long lineups. I took the stat OPS plus, right? On base percentage plus slugging percentage plus. The plus part, it's statistical way to compare each hitter to the league average and adjust for park factors. So an OPS plus of 100 is average. What I saw when I looked at the last 10 winners, all 10 out of 10 had 6 above average hitters in a lineup. 9 out of 10 had 7. The Mets in mid-season had 9 above average hitters per that metric in the middle of the year. Not counting Jeff McNeil, who was just coming on. Can you look at this lineup? This Mets lineup? They fought valiantly and given us so many reasons to be happy. They've been playing do-or-die baseball for 2 full months. Is this lineup still deep? What's happened to Francisco Alvarez? Harrison Bader? JD and Starling Marte, who neither really hit for power anymore. Iglesias running out of gas. I hate to say it, it's no longer a deep lineup. On the year, the Mets have 4 hitters with OPS pluses over 108. Lindor, Vientos, Alonso, Iglesias. And 4 technically barely above 100. Alvarez, Nimmo, Martinez, and Marte. Kind of like really stretching it by my metric or my threshold. The Dodgers, on the other hand, 10 above average hitters per OPS plus. Not even counting playoff darling Kike Hernandez. This lineup's just too good of the Dodgers. They got big contract Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers like Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman. They have multi-year All-Stars, Teoscar Hernandez, multiple former top 20 MVP performer for the Blue Jays. Will Smith, back-to-back All-Star. Max Muncy, who just broke the record. Most consecutive plate appearances reached in a single postseason with 12. I knew Muncy was going to be trouble in this series. I love the way this guy hits because he crushes righties and he just does just good enough against lefties. He can play first, can play third, he even played second for a little bit. I swear, if there was an expansion draft, right? I'm not saying I'd pick Muncy in the top half, but if I'm a team that had one of the last picks, I'd start my lineup with Muncy. This guy is nails. Then you add in the exact right kind of clutch platoon role players. I mentioned Mr. Playoffs Kike. Gavin Lux hits righties. And how about Tommy Edman? What a midseason pickup for them. Languishing on the injured list for the Cardinals after years of really being strong for them. The Dodgers just kind of plucked them away in a deal where I think that was in the Michael Kopech deal also with the White Sox. Tommy Edman, gosh, 18 years ago, we had to deal with David Eckstein. Is Tommy Edman a descendant? Can we do a DNA test? Can we get Eckstein in here? Golly. So take this talent on the Dodgers. They're hungry. They're cohesive. They're coming off 2 disappointing division series losses to division rivals in the last 2 years. Boy, I really wish we had drawn San Diego after all. So this lineup, this is the championship level lineup that the Dodgers are running out there, and they're in form, to use a word that the soccer would use. So Mets are down 3-1. It's a 7-game series. The hope level, it's low. It's certainly low. But what I'll say is Fox and all their pro Dodgers coverage, they had to show a graphic at the end of the game just now. The Dodgers, now the second team ever to win 3 games by 8+ runs in a single postseason series. The other, that 1960 Yankees team, which lost in the World Series to those Pirates. A sign? Possibly. But as always, with the 2024 Grimace Mets, the oh my God OMG Mets, the playoff pumpkin Mets, you got to believe. So I'll be believing. It just takes 3. Have a great weekend, everyone. Talk to you next week. Thanks for listening as always. Please keep sharing with anyone else interested in following these New York teams as they're on a quest for championships. Go back and check out some of my midseason episodes where I talked about this run the Mets were on and what was possible. But anyway, enjoy the baseball. Enjoy the weekend. Okay, take care, everybody.